Hi, I'm Paul, this is Polymate 3D, and today we're going to be assembling these components into Tenacious 6, the last 15mm magnet design. Let's get started. First, we've got the terminal ring, which the spider mounts to, the front fascia with built-in thread to mount to the cabinet, the chassis with another thread for the magnet container and an indented top for gluing the front fascia, the back cap which screws on and has branding and model embossed on the back, the surround with a support ring which helps to align the speaker cone, the spider with the long neck contact point, again for better control and assembly, and finally the speaker cone and former. This is the Patreon version, but the normal version is assembled in the same way. A note to purchasers of a kit: you will require 6 of the 3mm thick magnets to the guide's 2 10mm magnets. Performance, however, will be the same. Also, if you're wondering how to remove the magnets from the holder, simply whack it gently against the hand, then pull the first magnet out. Go round slowly as to not damage yourself. This is done for safe shipping purposes. Any washers got stuck in the holder? Simply use the magnets stacked together to give enough force to pull it out. Here is exactly why this is needed. Be careful during assembly. Stage 1. Let's get the voice coil made. You will need some small pieces of tape, 4.2 meters of the 0.17mm wire and some glue. I am using an all-purpose glue, but contact adhesive also works. The tape I'm using here is a copper tape, but simple sellotape will also work. First thing is to place a piece of tape approximately 8 inches or 20 centimeters down from the end of the copper wire. Then place this piece of tape onto the neck of the cone as seen here. Move the wire up and open your glue. We want a long bead of glue all the way around the indent furthest away from the cone. Once done, start winding around. Just like in previous builds, the winding does not need to be clean and the driver is a underhung design, meaning the winding stays within the magnetic field we are using. We want to continue this by trying to spread the wire as evenly as we can until we are left with around 8 inches, 20 centimeters left. Tape on the opposite side of the first piece of tape and then lift the wires towards the cone. Close over the glue once you're happy you do not require any more, and use a small piece of kitchen towel to wipe around the newly made voice coil. This will help make sure there is no loose wire to create unwanted noises and remove excess glue. Next, connecting the spider to the cone. Using the glue, we want to run a bead of glue around the top indent this time, exactly where we placed the tape from the previous step. Once the glue is in place and sealed back up again, we want the spider to be pushed on. We want the side of the spider with the longer neck piece sticking up. Push down and around. This will be fairly tight and is supposed to be, as this will help in controlling the linear motion that we want. Next, the surround onto the cone. On the surround you will see it has a straight perpendicular wall on the inner side. We want to run a bead of glue all the way around this inner piece. This wall can then be used to position the cone correctly on the surround. Like the spider, this will only just fit, so be persistent until the entire outer edge of the cone is within the wall mentioned. Once done, you can flip it over briefly to confirm that the surround is contacting fine. This is also the time to clean up any excess glue. This is your drivetrain. This is a stage to stop and let it dry. Setting a weight on top will help make sure the glue makes good contact. Whilst drying though, we can make something else. Step 5. Priming the chassis. The first thing you want to do is make sure the chassis is ready to do the job. I personally run a file around the inside to clean up any pieces of plastic that have come off due to retraction or other settings which can occur with FDM 3D printers. We want this section clean. The next part here is to make sure the back cap screws onto the chassis with ease. This is vital. Next, motor assembly. We will need the magnets, washers and the printed chassis along with back cap. Remove the back cap and place to the side. Now we need the magnets to be separated. As you can see here, they are repelling each other. Make sure you remember the correct way and mark if needed. I simply place down the way it will end up. Place a single washer on the first magnet and push into the gap. washer facing up. Next we need an additional 6 washers. One by one, push these into the 6 outer walls as seen here. These gaps are tight to stop vibrations, so you may need to force these all the way in. I'm using a file here, but a printed tool will also work. Once all 6 of these are pushed all the way in, place the remaining magnet in the centre. For the non-US version, you can see that it will sit there without having your hand in the way. Much better than FD51 before it. Place the back cap on the back and screw it into place. Step 6. Front fascia onto the chassis. Run 2 lines of glue around the inside of the indent on the top of the chassis. Then on the front fascia you will see it also has indents on either side. Slide one side on and then squeeze the other to the other side. It will snap into place. Step 7. Glue in the drivetrain to the chassis. Glue around the inner side of the front fascia and the indent further down as well. Once you have done this, push the terminal rings into place, the outer circles on the outside of the chassis. Once in place, run the glue all around the terminal ring and place on the side briefly. This will allow the glue to set on contact a bit better for contact adhesives. Step 8. Fit in the drivetrain to the chassis. First, we get a piece of paper and roll it up into a tight roll. I have cut a piece down here to wrap around twice. Fit into the hole through the cone, then take the drivetrain and start to place it onto the chassis. The smooth surface phase plug will allow the paper to slide down either side. This will allow the drivetrain to be set with an even gap around the magnet assembly and is known as a shim. Once down, start pushing the hour register around into the glued edge of the inside of the front fascia. Don't stress about the time you're taking, as the glue will take a while to set. Once the surround is in place, use a flat object to push down the spider onto the terminal ring. Step 9. After a few hours, remove the paper shim from the centre and confirm by pushing down evenly that it does not make contact with anything. Next is a choice. If you're using terminal posts, you can pass them through these holes and solder your wires to the terminals. If, like me, you just want the bare wires, you can pass the wire through the hole, bending it to keep it into place, and finish it up with some glue in the hole. Make sure the wire is raised above the spider to make sure this is not pulled during use. This method has been used in previous drivers which have exceeded 200 hours of use with no signs of fatigue. Now we need to get the coating off the end of the wire. Here I'm using a standing knife across the surface. The ideal choice is wet and dry sandpaper, but burning off the enamel coating is also an option, although it can destroy the wire itself. Step 10. Wiring up to an amplifier. Here I'm showing you how to contact the bare wires to the end of some of the speaker wire. We are not using huge amounts of power, and so sourcing any wire here should do the job. And that's it. Put on something you enjoy and turn it up. The suggested maximum power rating for Tenacious 6 is 5 watts. Thanks for watching through and hope you enjoy making your own. Want the Patreon cone to see behind the scenes or to get access to new options like the vented alignment for brazen cabinet? Consider becoming a patron. Feel free to follow me on Twitter to see more snippets of the project, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you'll know exactly when the next video is up. Stay safe and see you in the next one.